Offense, mid-range guy, or you going threes all day, Mike D'Antoni and Dan D'Antoni style?
I'm not really like a numbers guy, man. I'm more of like a feel. I'm not one of those guys who, I worked for a guy who was completely against mid-range shots, but I like it, man. I'll take the mid-range. I'm a player's guy, man. However you can put that ball in the basket.
Put that ball in the basket. Okay, you mentioned.
We'll figure it out for you. If you can shoot mid-ranges, we'll find a way. We'll get a package for you to get to the mid-range. If you layup guy, we'll find a package for you to get there. Shoot threes, we'll do that for you too.
That was Bryen Spriggs of UTEP. We spoke about his college career as a player, his path to get to UTEP, the value of relationships in the college coaching profession, and he answered the question, which head coach would you love to work for both on and off the court? I am Mark Williams. This is the Assistants Podcast, and he is Bryen Spriggs. Welcome back to another installment of the Assistants Podcast. I'm Mark Williams, and if I sound out of breath, it's because I just ran to the computer to have Bryen Spriggs talk to me about him being an assistant coach. Anyway, I'm Mark Williams again, and I have a special guest today, and he's going to talk to you guys basically about how he got into coaching and how his experiences, his wealth of experiences has led him to where he is currently now. I bring along Bryen Spriggs. How you doing, sir?
Doing good, Mark, man. Thanks for having me.
Man, this is long. It's a long time coming, particularly when we've known each other for almost 40 years now. You're not even 40 yet, but still over 40 years.
It felt like it, though, man. It felt like it.
That's funny. Well, now, obviously, I've seen you grow up, at my time in Philadelphia, playing with your dad a long time ago when we were pretty good and young. How was your experiences as a player? Because you grew up in a basketball household. How was that experience?
It was good, man. It was definitely learned a lot. It was a little, had its ups and downs in terms of expectations and, getting home and playing for my dad who actually played and knew the game and things like that. So I had the opportunity to break a lot of stuff down for me and learn a lot.
Mm-hmm.
The guys in the neighborhood, kind of growing up in a rougher neighborhood, it helped me at the same time because it kind of put a blanket of protection around me just because everybody know who my dad was. I'm playing basketball and things like that.
Right.
But it was good. It was great. I wouldn't change it for anything. It was a great experience for it. So it was good. It definitely was good.
Now, let me ask you this now. Let's be honest, and your father may listen to this. Was he kind of annoying as a coach because he played and thought he knew everything?
I think, man, it's pretty bad. I'm older now, I'm grown, but I can feel myself now, man. It was pretty bad, man. From a young understandings, to, no matter who you played for, he knew more than that coach. So, it didn't matter, man. He was, in his eyes, you should have got through the screen. The coach was, the scheme of the game was to switch the screen. He still would have been on the sideline telling him to get through the screen. So
yeah, I can imagine.
It was a little annoying, man. But everybody goes through it, man. I'm pretty sure Jelani kind of went through it. Sometimes you just need to be able to hear a different voice.
Right.
And I'm not saying he didn't know, but sometimes you guys know how it goes.
Yeah, I do.
The same message can come from somebody else, but it's gonna hit home.
That's true.
A little easier, man. You kind of get worn out a little bit.
Right. Yeah, I know. So now you survived that, and then you went on to play on the collegiate level. How was that experience playing on the college level?
Man, it was rough, man. But I grew. I would say my college career, my college years, I had the most growth as a man.
Mm-hmm.
Just being rebellious. Out of all the options I had to go to school, I took the furthest one away from Philadelphia, man. My first year in JUCO, I went out to, I got to JUCO because, academically, I wasn't locked in. I took it for granted in regards of the academic piece and everything like that. So I got recruited out to Barton County, was out in Kansas, who, traditionally had a bunch of tradition. But I was on that first year of So, Bryen kind of got into, man, they got in a bunch of trouble. Man. A bunch of people got dieted. It was all over ESPN, but I had no idea. But I went out there, and then we walked into a situation where only 5 out-of-state kids could play, and with no postseason. So as time got on, man, I got out there, and I was young, man. I just turned 17, and I was out there in JUCO with grown men. Guys was 23, 24. That's back when the ages really didn't matter, man. Guys was working at grocery stores for years, and then coming back and hooping. And, it was good basketball back then. So, that first year, I redshirted because just, kind of sitting down with coach and lining up the goals and everything like that. It took time, to get stronger, develop, and get better. In the meantime, while I was out there, I went out there with 2 other guys that was from Philadelphia. I'll tell you a crazy story about this, man. One of the guys who played in the same AAU program, when I was, to tell you the age difference, when I just got into the program and I turned 13, Andre was starting his freshman year. He just was graduating high school. And then when I got to JUCO, we was there together and we was roommates. Just tell you, like, the age gap, kind of what I was dealing with, it was just an eye-opener for me, man. It was 5, they recruited, I think it was somewhere around, like, 13 out-of-state guys for 5 spots.
Right.
And the rest of them was Kansas guys. When I got there, man, it had to be every bit of 20 dudes, on the team. And it was just different, man. It was guys from Compton, it was guys from Chicago, it was guys from Philadelphia. My man Big Joe Dorsett was from the Bronx in New York. The guys were just international guys. It was my first feeling of, like, dog. I grew a lot from it, man. Kind of, redshirted. I kind of got caught up in a little trouble out there. Coach kicked me off the team for a little bit, man. Just kind of, my upbringing was like a whole, caught up in don't snitch, don't tell. And I took that to the grave, and I ended up getting caught up with one of my teammates ended up stealing. But, as times everything unveiled, Coach realized I had nothing to do with it. And, kind of he let me back on the team. At that time, man, I was with a guy, my friend New York guy named Mark Shue, man. He was assistant out there at the time, good dude, kind of took care of me. And at the end of the year, man, it was just like, they need to get up out of here.
Right.
So he left, I left. It was just everybody's mass exodus. And then I ended up choosing the school that my dad wanted me to go to the first time, which was Allegheny. It was a junior college down in Maryland, which had great tradition. He a Baltimore guy. All the big-time Baltimore players used to go out there. And so I went down there, and I was out down there with my cousin, and he got a little tough, man. He got in some trouble. He got kicked off. It's all JUCO stuff, man. So now I'm down there by myself again, and I did another year, and my uncle, he's like my uncle, man. This guy named Lance, my dad was good friends. So after that, man, they thought it was best that I got up out of there, so I left. I ended up going D2 down at Tuscaloosa, down in Tennessee, and it was nothing I ever expected. I thought Kansas was bad, Western Maryland was bad, but it had nothing on Greenville, Tennessee. So I was with a guy named Jim Boone, who's now coaching at Arkansas, Fort Smith. Learned a lot, man. Big time motion, offense guy, pack line, defensive guy. Learned a bunch from him, but the style of play, I did no homework, I did no research, man, on the style of play, what it was like, or anything like that, man. I spent the majority of my time just listening to someone that was telling me to go somewhere. That's kind of like nowadays I tell these guys that I'm recruiting, like, man, do your homework, understand what you're walking into, because I didn't.
Right.
It was a slow style with, screening, 50 screens, and pack line defense. It just didn't fit me at all. So, end of the year, I left, and I got to, so now I'm on my fourth school. My grandma done gave up on me. My mom don't want to hear it no more. So now my last spot, it was all on me. So I ended up at Slippery Rock, which is a Division II school outside of Pittsburgh, and it was perfect for me. Like, it was a bunch of guys that was like me. At the time I walked in, I think I was 19, 20 when I got there, and I was the second youngest dude on the team.
Okay.
And all the guys there was on 4 schools, 5 schools, but it was a brotherhood that was so tight. It was, I still talk to those guys today, man. You know, we're in each other's weddings and everything. So that's kind of where it ended at, man. I played 2 years from there, and then just playing for Coach Reynolds was great. Learned a bunch from him, and at the same time, man, I picked up the phone for him today, and good dude to get his shirt off his back. So that's kind of where it wrapped up at, man. I thought I was going to end up, playing further, but that 7 points a game ain't gonna get you nowhere.
Yeah.
So I decided to get into coaching.
I was going to ask you. So, did you have aspirations of playing across the water and or NBA?
Yeah, I did, man. As my dad used to say something to me, like slowly the ball out of the air slowly seeping out every year. Then eventually it's not going to bounce no more.
Right.
Let's just say when you're not that good of a player, the ball moves out of the air moves out of that ball a lot faster than the better players. So
yes, agreed.
The air out of my ball, man, was probably gone after my second school, man.
Yeah. but that's good. At least you finished up. So after Slippery Rock, you ended up as an assistant. Or how did you get into the assistant coaching world? How did you end up there?
Yeah, and I was, it's crazy, man. It was kind of like a heartwarming moment. Man, we had gloves is off, uncut, man. I literally just cut class. So I just cut class, and coach had this thing where, you missed class, you ran that night. Like, your punishment was that night. He was like, you're going to take time for me. So it was always, and if you got in trouble on Monday, we had Thursday, you had Friday, you had Saturday. Those days that everybody went out. So you ran at night during those days. So Thursday night, Friday night, or Saturday night. Okay. So it was like me and this guy, man, Maurice Douglas, man, we both get in trouble, cut class, get in trouble, so running Thursday night. We on the line, man, we're just kind of talking. Maurice just breaks down, start crying. He's like, Coach, man, you got us out here, man. You just start to go at Coach, like, you don't care about us. Like, you just using us. You just trying to win games so you can, go on and get a better job. And then at the end, Coach was, he kind of broke down with us. He cried with us, like, man, I love y'all, because I love y'all guys, man. I'm going to take care of y'all for the rest of y'all life because of what y'all doing for me. And then right then and there, he's like, look, I'm going to let y'all know this right now, man. If y'all graduate today, he said, I will make sure that I'm going to take care of y'all. So the opportunity that he presented me with was, like, Spriggs, man, you got a great basketball mind. I think you can be a coach. I really want you to be, a graduate assistant once you get done playing here. I had no idea what graduate assistant was. So I didn't even tell him yes. I thought about it for a little bit. I was like, bounce some people off. So everybody bounce some stuff off of some people, and they were just like, man, you got to take that, man. It's a free education. You got a free chance to get a master's, and it's so hard to get into the business. You better take it, man. It says a lot about it. What that guy thinks about you if he's willing to bring you onto his staff, because this is how he feeds his family. So I finished the year out. The following year, I came on to be a graduate assistant for Coach Reynolds. And just to show his trust in me, like, literally he gave me everything. And I could have complained about it and like, oh man, I'm just a GA, why don't assistants do it? But literally everything. They had me doing scouts, live recruiting, helping him up on the offensive end, keeping posts on players with the recruitment. Literally, I learned as a coach, that was one of the most growth I had as a coach there, because he gave me the opportunity to mess up so much. And trust me, I heard about it. Like, he jumped me, he got on me and things like that, but it was always coming from a good spot. And to be honest, man, after spending, those 2 years there, he set me up for the rest of my life for my coaching career. So that first year, it was supposed to be it was a 2-year program. After the first year, one of the guys on staff left.
Okay.
He got the D1 job, and then coach bumped me up as, full-time assistant there at Slippery Rock.
Wow. So now, I'm sorry, guys.
Say that again?
No, I was gonna say you continue. My bad, I interrupted you.
Yeah, man, my bad, man. Yeah, so he bumped me up, and then that year went on. Still had more success. Man, won 20 games. Both of those years, and he came towards the end of it. I didn't realize that that he had created this position for me, and then the other GA.
Mm-hmm.
Like pretty much what happened is, man, he had to split this one position to make two full-time positions, but I never knew it was just like a one-year deal.
Right.
So at the end of the year, he kind of asked me, what I wanted to do was my goals. I said, hey, man, when it's all said and done, I want to be a Division I head coach.
Mm-hmm.
So he was like, and I asked him, how do I get there? He's like, man, you got to show your ability to be able to recruit, to be around players, and build your network and things like that. So at the time, man, I was just like, hey, man, I still want to stay here. I want to ride this thing out. I was comfortable. It was my alma mater. I wanted to be there. So at the end of it, man, coach had to make a decision because I didn't know it was just a one-year deal. So he ended up choosing the other GA to be his one-time, full-time assistant.
Mm-hmm.
So this kind of hit hard. It hurt because it's a man that he poured into me, saying, he loved me, do whatever for me, whatever. And then at the end of the day, he basically selected someone else who wasn't a player or anything that had no tie to the family. So that would kind of hurt, man. But it was my first experience of the real world.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of that, I kind of, hustled around, looking for jobs. And then got in Marshalltown, Iowa. Guy named Bryen said, man, love him to death. Still talk to him to this day. He said, hey, I don't have any money for you. So I got $2,500 in a dorm.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, man, I'll take it. I'll figure it out, man. So I hopped in my car, drove out there, and I just kind of got to work. And then just started recruiting, working, and just taking everything I learned from Slippery Rock.
Right.
Out there. Then I kind of fell a little bit at first because it was a lot of different being in Iowa and JUCO and things like that. But we ended up having the most successful season, Marshalltown has ever seen. Just at the end of the year, man, things, I had these aspirations of being a Division I coach. Things didn't play out the way I expected it to play out. So I kind of got frustrated. I was like, you know what, man, I'm going to take some time off. So I took probably 2 years off from basketball, man. Got out of it. I was working in juvenile delinquent facility for a little bit, and then I ended up working at it was children's services.
Okay.
And then I was there for a couple years, and I was like, man, I gotta get back in.
So
I went out to go ahead.
No, so you jump back. I was gonna say you jump back into the basketball crazy coaching carousel world.
Yeah, I jumped back in it, man. And then I headed on out the Lincoln Trail. It was another junior college out in Illinois. I was talking to Coach Ray. He's been in games. Assistant coach has been since for a long time, but the thing that popped about this the most is he's like, look, Bryen, man, I'm done. This is my last year, man. I've been in this game for 45 years. I just want to win 20 games and ride off into the sunset. He said, you got full ring and everything, and I'm going to work for you to get the head job after I'm done. So I was like, all right, deal. So I took it. I hit the recruit trail hard. Put together a decent team, man. We won 20 games. We runner-up for the conference championship in the GRAC, and then at the end of the year Coach Ray retired, and I don't get the job.
Wow.
So back to square one. As an assistant, man, the head coach got gone, the assistant is gone, so now I'm back to looking for a job again. At the time, man, I had just had my daughter, so now it's even more pressure. So now I'm just back, scrambling. Then eventually, man, I just took a stop down at Middle area. Went down there, worked with Luke Strachey for a year. Had a most successful season he has had up to this year. I think we're undefeated this year. But up to that point, won 28 games. So that was, I had a lot of success. Was able to be around a lot of players and build. Throughout that recruiting process of those guys that junior college, recruited, I was able to, strengthen my network and meet some people, shake some hands. And as the time was going on, my resume was continuing to build.
Right.
Then out of nowhere, the athletic director called me up from Beaver County Community College, which is right outside of Pittsburgh. And everybody said it was a horrible job. It was terrible. Nobody should take it. Can't win there. They don't care about basketball. There's no scholarships. But in my eyes, I just seen it as an opportunity.
Right.
And as a chance to be around my daughter. So, I get back there and I thought about it. And I said, no, I'm going to take it. So I took it. And then my whole thing was just to prove people wrong. So I got there and had a lot of success, man. Won every game. I think lost 10 games in 3 years.
Wow.
In my time frame that I was there. So a lot of success, man. Probably, I think over the course of the 3 years, it was we had 15 Division I players, and all the years prior was only one. So the history, prior to us getting there, the entire program for the years it's been, there's only been one Division I player, and we had 15 in 3 years. So, and it was an opportunity for me to be a head coach, and I thought it was great.
Of course.
Yeah, man. So that was all good. It was great. Then after the first year, I got the athletic director job, so I was the AD and head coach. So everything was good. Everything was great, and then COVID hit. So COVID hit until now, time was going on. Eventually, they said, hey, we cut the program.
Oh, shit.
Pretty much, I was down out. I'll have a job again. So, Coach Golden, that was at Abilene Christian at the time, gave me a call. And he reached out to me and was like, hey, man, I don't got much money for you, but I heard a lot of great things about you. I understand you're a grinder. You bounce around. You have success everywhere you've been at. You're a winner. I want you a part of the program. It's like, I don't have much money for you again.
Right.
I got a dorm. I give put some money in your pocket, but I promise you, it's all gonna work out for you, man. Just kind of come down and grind. So I probably sat on it Friday for about 2-3 weeks. Kind of talked it over because at that time, I had a daughter. So I got the blessings from them to go ahead and do it. So went there and did it. And probably was not probably, man. In terms of basketball, was the best experience of my life. To little Abilene Christian, we won the Southland. Then we knocked off Texas in the national tournament. And after that game, man, life just changed.
Yeah, I can imagine, man.
Changed completely. And over this winning just opened up so many doors.
Which led to where you are now. So now you're currently at UTEP, right?
Yep.
So a lot of people talk that's Don Haskins' building, but Timmy's the one that put it on the map. What's your thoughts on that?
Man, I don't know. When Tim was there, you can after getting down here, you hear about a lot of the other great guards that came through it. Rest in peace, Chief Jackson. Man, a lot of them say he was much better. It depends on who you talk to. They'll say he was much better than Timmy. He had this and that, and then obviously you can't knock Tiny Archibald, Hall of Famer.
Hey.
Who came through it as well. And they always argue, it's like, hey, man, Tim was on the team with 2 other, 13-year veterans, and Tiny didn't have that. So it just kind of depends on who you talk to, man.
Hey, I'm gonna go with Tiny, only because in the NBA, what he did was special, and led the country, led the NBA in scoring and assists in the same year.
Wow. Yeah, that's hard to do, man. Especially at that size.
That's hard to do, man. That's hard to do. Now, back to you. So now, you're currently at UTEP, and you're listed as the man in charge when your coach is not around. You're listed as the chief of staff, and I'm going to assume that's equivalent to an assistant coach of some capacity, correct?
Yes.
But you just got a fancy name, though, bro. What's up?
It was just blessings, man. So, for the most part, man, just kind of Coach Golden, he brought me over with him. I was the only person to come over with him from Abilene, and he designated me from the beginning. I was like, hey, man, you'll be my right-hand guy. We're going to do this thing together. So he gave me full reins of a lot of power. And pretty much on paper, you technically oversee all of the support staff. So he got the assistant coaches, and then I got the support staff. But at the same time, we always try to get together and collab and make sure this thing is heading in the right direction.
I got you. Like I said, you when he's not around, you got it. You got the stones. You got the stones. So now you guys are there's a big difference in ACU and UTEP. How would you suggest someone to get into the coaching profession? Because you've been you ran the whole ranks. How would you suggest you make that big jump to the Conference USA? You're at Conference USA.
Yeah, I would just say, man, just kind of stay persistent. And don't. I think a lot of times, man, I think you're compensated in two ways, man. It's money and experience. And I think a lot of people understand when you're getting into it, you gotta cherish those experiences and so that way you can learn a lot and understand that when you first get in, the money's not going to be there, but you got to focus on the long game and understand that those first 5 years or depending 5 years, 3 to 5 years is going to be rough, but you got to stay, you continue to run the course. And if you financially can do it, I would say just kind of get out there and try to get under a guy that that's going to take care of you and just kind of be around good people that's going to let you learn. And, at the end of the day, after you get done with that year of working with him, he'll pick that phone up to call, to make some calls for you and work for you to help you, get a job at your next spot. I think that's huge, man. Just working with good people is huge. And I think, that's one of the reasons that I came with Coach Golden to Abilene. I left Pennsylvania all the way down to Texas, just because no matter who you talk to, man, everybody speaks wonders of the person that he is. And I think that's huge.
Yeah, I agree.
Think that's huge.
I agree big time. Now, what one quality do you think that's needed for a young, inspiring basketball coach to get on? What does he or she really need outside of X's and O's and stuff like that? What do they need first and foremost?
Just work ethic. And it sounds crazy, but just gotta have the work ethic and understand that it's everything else and then basketball. And when you don't think no job is too big or too small for you. And then the other piece I would just say is loyalty, man. Loyalty is huge. With the way the game is and everything that goes on, and these guys, head coaches want someone around that they can trust and know that's going to be there in that corner with them through thick and thin. Right. So I would say hard work and loyalty are the keys to getting in.
Okay, I agree. And along with having great relationships that come along with all of that stuff.
Yes, for sure. Relationships is huge, man. Relationships is huge. And I think that kind of ties into the hard work part because, I feel as though you're working hard and you're out there recruiting, you're meeting people. If your job is scheduling, you're calling out to those other coaches, just continue to build on those relationships with those people, and it'll help you. It'll help you go a long way.
Yeah, I agree. So wholeheartedly. All right, so I'm gonna make up this question. I've never done this question before. Your defensive principles. Who's your go-to person for defensive principles?
Joe Golden, man. Joe Golden here, and then Brett Tanner was the assistant. Who's now the head coach at Abilene. Now took over the head reins at Abilene. He was assistant with us last year. I've always, kind of going back to the tough blow my time with Jim Boone, man. We just sat in the pack line and played in gaps, and I just thought it was just so much. I just didn't enjoy it, the basketball piece. So I've always enjoyed the pressure on the line and up the line, speed you up, fly around, just compete. And that's kind of what I've always built my principles around. So I always, I would go and I would watch, go back and watch Nola Richardson, or I'll go back think I picked it up and got majority of the principles from Luke Strege when I was at Mineral, and I just kind of added my own wrinkles to it. And I've just been blessed since Luke to have my own job, my own spot where I can kind of implement my own, and then the next 2 years being with pressure, denial guys. So I think those two.
Are you one pass away? Are you one pass away denying?
Yeah, one pass away, on the line, up the line, like make you backdoor, like encourage it, like backdoor me. Like I think you just can't beat us. My eyes here, and Coach Golden, and Coach Tanner's eyes as well, is you can't beat us back. You're not gonna backdoor us for 40 minutes. Like yeah, you might do it for the first 4 minutes, but it's just not gonna happen for 40 minutes.
Especially if you're putting ball pressure, it's going to be really hard to do that.
Yes. So, this is a fun style of basketball, and I think all the kids nowadays like to play in transition. So you can turn guys over, we're out in transition, and speed them up and ball. It's just a fun style of coach. It's a fun style of watch.
Okay.
It's good.
I know. I love it. I'm a big on the line up the guy, up the line guy. Big. I learned that actually from Dick Bennett he was at Wisconsin 37 billion years ago, and then Bo Ryan did it also at Wisconsin. But anyway, that's me. Here's a question for you.
So I gotta ask you, man. So Dick Bennett he was a pack line guy.
Yeah.
The pressure guy.
Yeah, he was a pack line, but that's his son.
Yeah. Yep. You're right. Over down in Virginia.
Yep. So his games are boring as hell. We know, but we know what they're going to do. They're going to pack it in, and then they're going to their offense is just down screen and pop out and screen across. That's it.
Yep.
Maybe one elevator screen, but that's basically it. Offense, mid-range guy, or are you going threes all day, Mike D'Antoni and Dan D'Antoni style?
I'm not really like a numbers guy, man. I'm more of like a feel. After being with Coach Golden, he implemented. I thought I was been more like a 5-out, kind of more of a skill guy. But now I've been, he kind of got me on this what we call 2-game. That's what we call it here. It's pretty much like a high-low. A guy from Billy Gillespie, Kansas, runs it. I'm kind of more sold on it, man. I kind of like it a lot. It's a lot of motion. Everybody touches the ball. It helps a lot if you got a good big. But if you don't, you still can create angles, things for guards as well within it. So I would say, man, I'm not one of those guys who I worked for a guy who was completely against mid-range shots, but I like him, man. I'll take the mid-range. I'm a player's guy, man. However you can put that ball in the basket.
Put that ball in the basket. Okay, you mentioned.
We'll figure it out for you. You can shoot mid-ranges. We'll find a way. We'll get a package for you to get to the mid-range. If you layup guy, we'll find a package for you to get there. Shoot threes, we'll do that for you too.
Gotcha. You can adapt. Yep. You mentioned your team. You guys like to get out in transition, and obviously it's a fun way to play. You guys are running secondary breaks?
Nah, man. It's not really so much of a secondary break, man. We kind of flow straight into our offense. It's more, we try to, if you got it, get the steal, man. It's your traditional 2-on-1, 3-on-1. We at the rim, but if they got numbers and they're back, we're flowing straight into 2-game, man. We're flowing straight into our offense.
Gotcha. Even on the make?
Now, if it's a make and transition, we flowing right into our offense on a make.
Gotcha.
So it looks like secondary. You obviously got your posters that's the head and the posters trailing.
Yeah.
Things like that, but we ours a little different, man, because we always get our guard. The point guards, when you bring the ball up, you always bring it up on a clear side.
Gotcha.
So it's ISO. We push the wings to the opposite. Where majority of the secondary break, them guys run for a ball in heads.
Yeah.
Yeah, but our guys bring it. They get the rebound, he gets the point guard, he bring it in. They got a whole floor to work with.
So he's pushing the guard, the wing. He's pushing the wing all the way around, all the way through.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Wings going all the way down. The guys they get to the other side. The wings getting pushed through. And just trying to get downhill and
Got you.
for others.
Got you. Small ball, big ball.
I'm more of a fan of. That's a good question, man. Now, today, the way we play, man, I'm more of a small. I like the small ball. I'll take some. I'm not taking it to the extreme of like Villanova when, what's my guy's name, man? Randy Foye at the 4 at 6'3". I want to take it there, but I call these guys JUCO Johnnies, man. Those guys about 6'6", 6'7". They can just do a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
I like those guys at the 4 spot a lot. So, yeah, I guess they consider small ball. I'll put them there, man. Those are my type of guys.
Yeah, but don't knock that Villanova team. That team was special with Randy at the. That team was special.
It was, man. I don't even know if you can ever recreate that.
They had Kyle Lowry.
Alan Ray, Randy Foye. All the dudes was under 6'3" might have been a stretch for Randy Foye, man.
Yeah, it was. And they 5-man was like Curtis Sumter or something like that at the time.
He was like 6'6", 6'7".
Yeah, they were nice. Yeah,
that was a special team, man.
That was nice.
I don't even know if Jay Wright could recreate that team if he tried, man. They were some dogs. They played, they competed. It's a special team.
Yeah, that was a good team. That he had like a 5-year window where he was like something. They were something. Yeah, but all right. So now all time you can't include, and we'll wrap up. You cannot include coaches that you worked for. All time greatest coach, if you had the opportunity to work for, who would it be? Dead or alive?
Dead or alive. Is it? If we doing body of work just on the court or body of work off the court?
Great question. Let's go. Ooh, that's a very good question. Let's go both. Let's do on the court as well as off the court. That's a
all time.
That's a good question. Yeah, of all time.
I like John Chaney, man. Like just growing up in Philadelphia,
my man.
The input that he had on the city, his approach, just everything about him was just gangster, man.
Yeah.
I loved it, man. It's like everything he had, you'll see him in like the hood of the city, you see him out in the nice areas, and he can coach pretty much anything and everything. He always had an edge. He could tell he approached it with a chip on his shoulder, man. So I would say if it was anybody, I could work for, if you take it on and off the court, I would go John Chaney.
Yeah, I would post on that.
For the city where he came from, just everything about him, just him and I, we line up, man. Just the edge, the fight,
But
the kids say today, man, from the mud,
Yeah, but would you line up and fight a John Calipari at a press conference though?
That's the thing that helped me. That made me a fan.
Me too. I was like, yo, he's crazy.
I think he was probably 30 years older than him at the time.
He's like, yo, he crazy. All right, so is he on the court or off the court? Or he's both?
If I had to choose both, I would say like he brings it both together, man. But off the court, man, I like Lonzo Martin, man. I like him a lot, man. Kind of over there in Missouri in terms of like off the court. Just the way he carries himself, the stuff that he preaches to his team, just everything he's about. It's crazy. Crazy. So we in a bubble, man. I didn't take a chance on my opportunity. So while we was in a bubble, we couldn't leave, we couldn't go out. It was just everybody was in the convention center. So what all the coaches was doing was they was like going to the convention center and walk laps. Like that was their like exercise, the way they get out. And I seen Konzo in there, and I didn't take the opportunity to kind of reach out. Yeah, I should have. And I know a bunch of people that played for him. Take care of all his dudes, man, all his guys, players, coaches, everybody. But I never had the opportunity to really, I should have took advantage of it and just hopped up there and walked around the convention center with him. But, yeah, I would say Konzo Martin in regards of regards to off the court. On the court, just in regards to like X's and O's. That's a good one, man. That's a good one right there. I like Jay Wright got something going on special up there, man. So I would say I would say Jay Wright. Just in regards to like the stuff that he got, he's kind of going against the wave, like in terms of like how he's getting these guys to buy in a red shirt for a year.
Yeah.
And they still having success, and guys are still going on and making money, and you know, being a pro, going on to the NBA even after a red shirt year. And then, you know, I haven't been to a practice yet, but just kind of talking and watching. A lot of his stuff, from what I'm hearing, has a lot to do with one-on-one. Like, he gets back with, like, these guys play one-on-one a lot, and that's a throwback. Like, you really don't hear of guys doing that as much, but I've heard that that's very big in their program. Which kind of creates a competitive edge. Those guys step out there and compete, things like that.
Right.
So I would say Jay Wright on the court, man. Konzo off the court, and if I had to pick one, man, I'm going John Chaney through and through.
He got the both. He covers them both. No, I just made those questions up, and I thought primarily because you're coaching, you're out there. You got to have somebody to look up to a certain extent.
Yeah. Yep. Just have somebody to kind of keep an eye on, see what they're doing, and just trying to keep a pulse.
Yep. All right. Well, we out, B. We went over 41 minutes, man, and it was fun, man. I ain't gonna lie, it was fun. I appreciate you. Good luck down in UTEP, Texas two-step UTEP, and make us proud up here in New York.
Nah, man.
In Philly.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you, Mark. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right. Talk to you later.